Hello, curious minds. Do you dream of a garden just overflowing with vibrant, healthy plants and doing it all, naturally and sustainably? If that sounds like you, you're definitely in the perfect place. Today, we're taking a real deep dive into two incredibly powerful strategies for cultivating that kind of garden. We're talking organic dry amendments and the magic of composting.
Yeah, we're not just scratching the surface here. We're going to explore what these natural helpers actually are, why they're so beneficial for your plants and the planet, and crucially, how you can use them to, well, transform your soil from the ground up. So get ready for some insights that'll hopefully make you a more informed, effective, and environmentally conscious gardener.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating, I think, is how these practices move beyond just, feeding the plants. It's more about actually building a resilient, living ecosystem right there in your garden soil. It's really about understanding the soil itself as much as the plants growing in it.
Okay, let's unpack that. When we say organic dry amendments, what exactly are we talking about? Essentially, yeah, these are natural materials, often plant-based, sometimes mineral or animal-based, that you add to your soil. The goal is to improve its fertility, its structure. Think of them as a kind of slow-release, sophisticated alternative to those quick-hit chemical fertilizers. It's really about building long-term soil health.
Right. That brings up a key question, though.
hmm
Why make that switch? What's the real advantage over the conventional stuff, especially if you're already thinking about sustainability?
Well, the biggest benefit isn't just about giving the plant a quick meal. It's about building healthy, resilient soil. Full stop. Chemical fertilizers, they can be like giving your plant an IV drip. It works fast, sure, but it often bypasses the soil's natural processes. You get nutrient spikes, potential runoff.
Yeah, the runoff thing's a big issue.
Huge. Organic amendments, on the other hand, they're more like building the plant's immune system, its whole digestive system, really. They break down slowly, nutrients get released gradually. This cuts down massively on nutrient runoff and soil erosion. Plus, they actively improve the soil structure, help it hold water better, and, crucially, they feed that whole world of beneficial microbes in the soil.
So it's like building a whole community down there.
Exactly. And the result? Healthier plants, more productive plants, often with better flavor, better nutritional value. You can even see reduced pest and disease problems. And honestly, long term, they can be really cost effective. Just imagine, tasting the difference in your tomatoes and knowing you nurtured that soil naturally.
That's a really strong case. But, okay, there are so many options out there. How do you even start choosing? How do you know what your soil needs? Maybe we can break down some specific types and, like, their superpowers. Let's start with nitrogen for that leafy growth, right?
Absolutely. Nitrogen's key for leaves. A great one to start with is alfalfa meal. It's basically just ground up alfalfa plants. Good source of N, P, K, lots of micronutrients too. But here's the really interesting bit. It's rich in something called triacontanol.
Triacontal, okay.
Yeah, it's a natural plant growth hormone. Studies show it helps root development, boosts chlorophyll, just gives the whole plant more vigor. It's like a natural turbo boost beyond just the nutrients.
Oh, okay. What else for nitrogen?
Well, soy meal is another good one. It's a byproduct from making soybean oil,
Yeah.
primarily nitrogen, so it's fantastic for things like lettuce, kale, broccoli, those heavy feeders.
Huh?
And it also really helps kickstart the microbial activity in the soil.
Makes sense. And you mentioned malted barley. That sounds more like brewing beer.
Yeah, it does. But malted barley that's sprouted and dried is interesting for soil. It contains enzymes, right? These enzymes help break down other organic matter in the soil, making nutrients more available. Plus, it stimulates those soil microorganisms, kind of wakes them up and gets them working.
Okay, so those are great for green, leafy stuff. But what if you want, like, amazing flowers or a huge tomato harvest?
Phosphorus, right.
Exactly. Phosphorus is crucial for flowers and fruits, and one of the classics is bat guano.
Seriously, bat droppings.
Yep. It's been used for centuries. The Incas apparently prized it. It's naturally high in both nitrogen and phosphorus, so it supports growth and flowering. Plus, it has micronutrients like calcium, magnesium, iron. It's potent stuff.
Okay, I'm less skeptical now. What else?
Similarly, seabird guano, same idea, different animal, rich in NPK plus things like calcium and zinc, and often contains beneficial bacteria too, which helps inoculate the soil.
Right. And then there's rock dust. That sounds more, well, basic.
It sounds basic, but rock dust, finely crushed rock, often a mining byproduct, is incredibly important. Think of it like a multivitamin for your soil. It provides a super wide range of micronutrients and trace elements that often get depleted over time. It also physically improves soil structure, boosts fertility, and can even help nudge the soil pH back towards neutral.
Yeah.
Very valuable. Okay, got it. Nitrogen for leaves, phosphorus for fruits and flowers. What about potassium? Why is that one important?
Potassium is kind of the all-around health nutrient, strong roots, disease resistance, overall plant resilience. That's potassium's job. And a fantastic source is kelp meal, dried, ground seaweed.
Ah, seaweed. Makes sense.
Yeah, it's packed with trace minerals, iodine, for example, but also natural plant growth hormones, cytokinins, auxins, gibberellins. These help plants cope with stress like drought or temperature swings. It's like a natural stress shield for them.
That's really useful. And potash. I've heard that term.
Right, potash is basically a naturally occurring potassium-rich salt, essential for strong roots, fighting off diseases, good flower, and fruit production. And for the real soil nerds out there, it improves something called the gleaning exchange capacity, the CEC.
Okay, CEC.
Mm.
What does that mean in plain English?
It basically means the soil's ability to hold onto and swap nutrients. A higher CEC means your soil can store more nutrients and make them available to plants as needed instead of them washing away. So potash helps build that fundamental nutrient holding power of your soil.
Gotcha. So beyond the big three NPK, are there other amendments with like special skills?
Oh, absolutely. There are some really interesting ones. Take diatomaceous earth, or DE.
DE. I think I've heard that for pest control.
Exactly. It is used for pest control. It's fossilized diatoms, tiny algae skeletons, microscopically sharp, so it dehydrates insects with exoskeletons. But in the soil, it's great for improving drainage and aeration because of its structure. Plus, it provides silica, which plants use. Just be sure to wear a mask handling it. It's very fine dust.
Good tip. What else?
How about insect frass?
Insect frass. Is that what I think it is?
Yep, insect poop, basically. From herbivorous insects, it's actually a great fertilizer, balanced NPK, around 222 plus micronutrients. But the really cool part is the chitin content. Chitin is what insect exoskeletons are made of. When plants detect chitin in the soil, it triggers their natural defenses. It strengthens their cell walls and ramps up their immune system against pests and diseases. It's like giving your plants a heads up that predators might be around, sort of like a vaccine.
Wow, that's fascinating, like plant communication. Okay, one more.
Let's do neem meal. It's a byproduct from the neem tree, famous in organic pest control. The meal itself is a good fertilizer, but it also retains some of those pest-repelling properties. Helps against aphids, whiteflies, spider mites, and it can even suppress some soil-borne fungal diseases. A real multitasker.
Okay, that is an incredible list of options. So much potential there. But practically speaking, how do you actually use these things in the garden?
Yeah, good question. Most are pretty flexible. You can mix them into the soil when you're planting. You can also just sprinkle them on top of the soil around existing plants. That's called top dressing. Or mix them into your compost pile to make it even richer. Some people even brew them into a tea.
A fertilizer tea.
Yeah, you steep them in water, sometimes aerate it, and then use the liquid to water your plants, or even spray on the leaves for a quick boost that's a foliar spray. Application rates vary a lot, though. Depends on the amendment, your soil, what you're growing. Usually it's like cups per square foot or pounds per 100 square feet. Always best to check the specific product recommendations.
And safety first, right? You mentioned the mask for DE.
Definitely. Gloves are always a good idea, and yeah, a dust mask for any fine powders. Keep them stored away from pets and kids, obviously. And one important point, these dry organic amendments generally aren't great for hydroponics. They're made for soil, and the particles can clog up hydro systems.
Good distinction. Okay, so amendments target specific needs, but then there's composting, which sounds more like building the foundation.
Yes.
Right, creating that rich base from scratch. What is composting fundamentally?
Exactly, it's foundational. Composting, at its core, is managing the natural decomposition of organic stuff. It's an aerobic process, meaning it needs oxygen. Tiny organisms, bacteria and fungi mostly, break down things like kitchen scraps and yard waste. They transform it all into this stable, dark, crumbly material that's amazing for soil. That aerobic part is key, though. No oxygen means smelly, slow, and less beneficial decomposition.
Right, avoids the stinky pile.
Yeah.
And the benefits go beyond just the garden, don't they?
Oh, massively. Composting is, like, hands down one of the best environmental actions you can take at home. Think about it. You're diverting food scraps and yard waste from landfills where they'd produce methane, a really potent greenhouse gas. Huge win right there. Plus, you're making your own free, high-quality soil conditioner. So you buy less fertilizer, maybe fewer pesticides because your plants are healthier.
Saves money, too.
Totally. And in the garden, it improves soil structure, helps sandy soil hold water, helps clay soil drain better, boosts aeration, biodiversity, prevents erosion. It even stores carbon in the soil. And like you said, the pile itself becomes a little habitat for worms, beneficial microbes, insects, which then feed birds and other wildlife. It's a whole ecosystem builder.
It really is a win-win-win.
Yeah.
Okay, so if someone wants to start making this garden gold, what are the key ingredients? What's the recipe?
Right, the secret sauce. You basically need four things in balance. First, your greens.
Mm.
These are nitrogen-rich materials. Think grass clippings, veggie scraps, fruit peels, coffee grounds, fresh weeds,
Yeah.
soft, moist stuff. They provide the nitrogen fuel for the microbes.
Okay, greens, got it.
Second, your browns. These are carbon-rich. Think dry leaves, straw, shredded newspaper, cardboard, small twigs, sawdust, dry, woody stuff. They provide the carbon structure and bulk.
Greens and browns.
Yeah.
Like a balanced diet for the pile.
Exactly. Then you need water. The pile should be consistently moist, like a wrung-out sponge. Not dry, not soaking wet. And finally, air, oxygen. That's why tuning the pile is important. Those aerobic microbes need to breathe.
And is there a magic ratio of greens to browns?
It's not exact science, but a good starting point is roughly maybe 1 part green to 2 or 3 parts brown by volume. Some say 25–50% greens, 50–75% browns. You need significantly more carbon browns than nitrogen greens. Getting that balance right is key for decomposition speed and avoiding smells.
Makes sense. And we should definitely stay out of a typical backyard pile.
Good question. Definitely avoid meat, fish, bones, dairy, oily stuff. They can break down, but they tend to attract pests, rats, raccoons, and can get really smelly in a home pile. Also avoid diseased plants, weeds that have gone to seed unless your pile gets really hot. Any plants treated with persistent herbicides, treated wood, and pet waste, cat or dog manure can contain pathogens you don't want in your garden soil.
Okay, that's really clear. Now, composting happens naturally, but sometimes slowly. Are there ways to speed it up? I want my garden gold faster.
Yeah, patience isn't always easy. Yes, you can definitely speed things up. Aiming for finished compost in, say, 3 to 6 weeks is possible if you're active. Here are 5 tips.
Okay, let's hear them.
1. Size matters. A bigger pile holds heat better. Aim for at least 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet, about a cubic meter. Small piles just don't get hot enough for fast decomposition.
Right, need that critical mass.
2. Shred and chop everything. Smaller pieces equal more surface area for microbes to attack. It makes a huge difference. Shred leaves, chop branches, cut up kitchen scraps.
Okay, more surface area. Makes sense.
3. Turn and aerate regularly. This is maybe the most important one for speed. Turning the pile every week or 2 gets oxygen in there, mixes everything up, manages temperature, keeps those aerobic microbes happy and working fast.
And wear gloves and a mask when turning, right? Especially if it's dry.
Absolutely good point.
Sure.
Safety first. 4, maintain moisture. Remember the damp sponge. Check it regularly. Add water if it's drying out. Add more browns like shredded paper or straw if it gets too soggy. Consistency is key.
Got it. Damp sponge.
And 5, a little bonus. Add worms or activators. You can add special composting worms, red wigglers, directly to an outdoor pile. Or kickstart a new pile with an activator, a handful of finished compost, some manure, seaweed, something rich in microbes and nitrogen.
Red wigglers. That brings us to vermicomposting, right? For
Right.
smaller spaces.
Exactly. Vermicomposting or worm composting is perfect for apartments, balconies, even indoors. It uses those specific red wiggler worms, Eisenia ferida, to process food scraps. Takes up little space. It's pretty much odorless if you do it right.
So how does that work? Just worms in a bin.
Pretty much. You need a bin, often plastic, with a lid and some air drainage holes. You fill it with moist bedding, shredded paper, or cardboard is common. Then add the right kind of worms. Not earthworms from the garden, you need red wigglers. You feed them fruit and veggie scraps, coffee grounds, crushed eggshells. Avoid meat, dairy, citrus, oily stuff, same as a regular pile. They turn it into amazing worm casting.
Worm casting, that's the really good stuff, right?
Oh yeah, pure garden gold. So whether it's a big pile or a worm bin, eventually you get finished compost. How do you know when it's actually ready to use? You'll know it when you see it and smell it. Mature compost should be dark brown, crumbly, look like rich soil, and it should smell earthy and pleasant, like a forest floor after rain. No sour or ammonia smells. Timing varies wildly, 3 months if you're really managing it hot, maybe up to a year or 2 if you just let it sit.
And how do you harvest it? Just scoop it out.
Pretty much. You might want to sift it to get out any bigger bits that haven't broken down yet. Twigs, avocado pits, whatever. Just toss those back into the active pile. Worm castings don't really need sifting or curing. You can usually use them straight away.
Okay, so you've got your finished compost. How do you actually use it in the garden for the best results?
Lots of ways. You can spread it as a mulch, like a top layer on your garden beds, maybe an inch or 2 thick. 3 to 5 centimeters. That suppresses weeds, holds moisture, and feeds the soil slowly. Or you can mix it into the soil before planting. Digging in a few inches of compost into the top 6 to 9 inches of soil really improves the structure and fertility. You can also use it as part of a mix for potting up containers. Blend it with perlite or coir, makes a great potting medium.
Fantastic. Okay, so we have these amazing amendments for specific needs, and we have compost for the foundation. How do they work together? Is there synergy there?
Huge synergy. That's really the heart of sophisticated organic gardening, I think. Compost builds the overall health, the structure, the microbial life. It creates the stage. Then, the dry amendments let you fine-tune things. Need more nitrogen for your lettuce? Add some alfalfa meal. Tomatoes need more phosphorus for fruiting. Add some bone meal or guano. They work beautifully together. Compost makes the amendments work better, and amendments address specific needs that compost alone might not fully cover. And using them together definitely helps you reduce or even eliminate the need for chemical
So
fertilizers.
you can really customize things. Become your own soil alchemist, mixing up blends.
Exactly. You can absolutely make your own DIY fertilizer blends at home. It's quite empowering. For instance, a good all-purpose mix might have some seed meal like soy or alfalfa for N, maybe some rock phosphate for P, kelp meal for K, and trace minerals, maybe a little lime or gypsum depending on your soil pH.
Tailoring it to your garden.
Precisely. Or if you're serious about roses, you could make a rose fertilizer. Maybe alfalfa meal, remember that triacontanol? Bone meal for P and calcium. Fish meal and boost, kelp meal, aiming for something like a 3-5-3 NPK ratio, plus all those micronutrients roses love.
That's really cool. You could even make your own mix for starting seeds, right? Something light and nurturing.
Totally. A good seed starting mix might use coconut coir as a base for moisture retention, perlite for drainage, maybe some vermiculite, and definitely a good portion of finished compost or worm castings for gentle nutrients and beneficial microbes. Gives seedlings a great start.
And you could even make a mix to speed up your compost pile.
You bet. A compost accelerator blend could include things high in nitrogen and phosphorus, like blood meal, cottonseed meal, maybe some bone meal or rock phosphate. Mix that in when building or turning your pile to really fire up those microbes. Just one caveat. Homemade blends might not be as precisely balanced or consistent as commercial ones. So, pay attention to your plants, see how they respond. A little experimentation is usually needed.
Of course. Always observe the plants. Wow. Okay, well, there you have it. That was a really deep dive into organic dry amendments and composting. We covered everything from growth hormones and alfalfa and that amazing chitin and insect frass to the vital greens and browns of composting and how to get that garden gold super fast.
Yeah, it really highlights how much is going on beneath the surface, doesn't it? And how understanding these natural systems lets us work with them. It underscores that idea that knowledge is great, but it's most valuable when you actually understand it and can apply it in your own context. Nature's systems are complex, always more to learn.
Absolutely. So for everyone listening, what really stood out to you from all this? Maybe just switching one fertilizer for an organic amendment or finally starting that compost bin you've been thinking about. Could that be your next step? Not just for a healthier garden, but maybe a more sustainable little ecosystem right at home. Keep experimenting, keep learning, and definitely keep growing.